And I wanted to start this performance on a light note. So this is kind of like an icebreaker to set the mood. This is a piece I drunk wrote one night and promised to share with the GC. Nung shinare ko yun, sinabi ko na hindi pa siya tapos, but I'll share it when it's done. So this is me fulfilling my promise, in which I overthink what you mean when you call me baby. So maybe you can call me obsessive. And the reason I prefer to text over to talk is I will pour over our conversations until I am sure that baby means I'm interested in you. Sparks that set off a future possibility of an us. Everyone else flirts casually over group chat, and believe me, I've tried, but my heart can only speak truths, and the truth is I can't like you. Maybe like you in a romantic sort of way. And I know that's cliche, but cliches exist because they describe it so perfectly. You came crashing down like sudden downpour. My handwritten list for qualities I want in an ex girlfriend reduced to running ink. You easily flood over every thought, and I am haphazardly strong words spilled on the floor. You rainbow smile and sunshine eyes, and I am torn pages, messages unsent. Because this feeling of fingers trembling, heart racing, second guessing, nervous laughing, blood rushing to blushing face, this feeling might disappear. Because baby can just mean an adorable friend, or worse, baby, you're cute, but I'm not really emotionally available right now. So I hold my breath, catch all the butterflies and stop them from leaving my mouth, swallow my imagination, and preserve you with my pen. You, beautiful, showered in stomach churning infatuation. You, perfect, just the way I don't know you yet. I am sorry, that's the piece to start us off. And I want to thank everyone again for attending the online live performance of my residency project for Global Grace Philippines Air. Letters to Home is a collection of four personal spoken word love letters that explore the idea of what home is. So, kayo ang very first live audience ko ever. So this really means a lot to me. We're going to look into the past together, dive in, and then from the past, we're going to move to the present throughout this collection. So, my first piece, this is a love letter to my past struggle with sexuality, the discovery of my identity, and feeling at home in it. Appropriate because the title of this poem is Identity. After years of verbal sparring in Singlish, English became second nature. When my mouth scrambles for words, it picks vegetables over gulay, laundry over labahan, shower over hilamos. In grade 3, I stood for the whole period. Foreign transfer student in my own hometown, the question in Filipino ringing like static white noise in between FM radio stations. In grade 4, I told a friend to move her iced tea kasi baka maula, and she didn't understand because the correct word is naula, which is Bicol for spill. When I speak in Filipino, the words spell clumsily no matter how carefully I curate them. The thoughtfulness lost in my best effort at translation. This fear of being misunderstood taught me to pick my words apart, dissecting every nuance. So when I was asked how I identified, I didn't have the words for it. Open to dating anyone, I called myself. Open for short. Wiki surfing and Tumblr deep dives taught me there's more than just tomboy or bakla. Suddenly, there was a whole host of identities I could pick and choose from. While Comp had told me to date guys, I would run in the opposite direction at the first signs of a serious relationship. I cut off my hair, partly because I was told I couldn't pull it off, partly because I wanted to be seen as gay. In my second year of college, I had my first ever panic attack when my org seniors grilled me about my crush, asking, "But would you really date her if you had the chance?" And so I dated her. Well, not her exactly, but a girl. And when we kissed, my entire romantic history paled in comparison. At first, lesbian felt thick on my tongue, the syllables too heavy to glide naturally. But then I thought, how beautiful is it to be named after Lesbos, home to Sappho, a poet known for proclaiming her love of women and their beauty. It was the perfect word. Yeah. So that's the first poem in my collection, Identity. And I know I asked some of you about it, especially Milo and Rai. I asked you about how you discovered your identity because I was trying to look back and trying to figure out how I wanted to write this piece. And ayan, helped a lot. So thank you guys. Thank you. Okay, so that was also kind of nag-start tayo sa past, right? My struggle with language and then figuring out the vocabulary for my identity. So we're going to move into a different concept of home. This second poem from the collection is a love letter to Tita Oya. Tita Oya, she was the one who raised us and she made our house feel like a home. So this is for her. On the hands that hold us, I'm the daughter of Tita Oya's tenderness. When I think of warmth, I picture her hands, thin, pale, and wrinkly, but surprisingly strong and agile. Those hands would make us pork tapa for breakfast or make sure that all five kids had their baon ready before school. I can still remember her cool palm smoothing out my hair, good morning towel, wiping my sweat after playing outside, and I would think that this is love. When she followed us to Singapore, I thought she would stay with us forever. I was 6 years old. We would walk from our flat to the grocery store, red trolley trailing behind us. I would help pick things from aisle to cart, just the things we needed. On the way home, she would hold my hand the entire time. The green walking man meant go. You can cross safely, and I would think beside her is the safest place on earth. Late at night, I would peer through the doorway and see her crying. I knew my father had a temper, his thick, sunburnt, calloused hands always ready to strike. I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I remember being so scared I broke a glass that I cut my hands trying to hide the pieces. When we returned to Laguna, Tita had to cut a banana tree from the other barangay and drag it all the way home, planting it in the empty lot across her house. And I would think that wasn't how you treat family. And then she left. I was 18, and then she arrived with hands full of gentleness. The first meal she cooked for me was beef tapa, packed in a small airtight container with fried rice and a runny sunny side up egg. It was the first meal she ever cooked for someone, she said. I have naturally cold hands, and when she held them in hers, the warmth felt familiar, comforting, but always temporary, always asking for something in return. And I would think that love wasn't always easy, right? From the hands of someone you love, a caress and a choke feel the same. So forgive me if I didn't see the red warning signs or ran with barely anything left to pick the pieces. I thought love was always enough. When we met Tita years after she left, she told us how she cried on the bus ride from Laguna, how she missed us every single day. Her hands still thin, pale, and wrinkly, but not as tired. And I think now I understand. This is how you leave. Okay. So that is the second poem from my collection. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope okay lang siya. Oh, still makes me cry from a scene. Yeah, this was something. This was a poem I started writing before the residency. I already had the idea in my head. Parang I had the first two stanzas with me. Tapos, ayun, it kind of evolved into something else. It started as a love letter to Tita Oya, but I also wanted to tie. I am dealing with abusive situations and my personal experience of it from someone I loved. Sorry, I just connected everything together and this piece was born. So the next piece is also going to be a little heavy emotionally. This is something I've always wanted to write, but I've been scared about talking about it publicly. This is a love letter to myself, but also to anyone else who has had a similar experience. This is what you know after the fact. You weren't worried about revenge or seeking justice, no. Your first thought was, I should have known better. How could this have happened to me? You've read so many stories that you thought you knew exactly what to do to prevent it, but now that you think about it, these stories never tell you how to stop it. They detail the helplessness and the fear, but they don't teach you how to fight. It's easy to feel angry when a child is raped or a woman brutally murdered after a stranger fucks her, but no one bats an eyelash for the pretty girl got pretty drunk and got fucked by a friend. The whispers echo, but no one asks if she's okay. You know this because you didn't ask her either. And now that you are a pretty girl, you think you wouldn't know what to say if someone did ask you if you were okay. You'll replay the events over and over in your head, trying to find the truth of what really happened, as if a proof of your no will swing the court in your favor, but no, you'll not talk about it. You'll tell your friends it happened the way you wanted it to. You'll tell your sister you just forgot to use a condom and ask which birth control you can take as an emergency contraceptive. You'll tell yourself your flirting was an open invitation to your body and it was the first time you had sex, so of course it was painful. You'll replay the events over and over in your head, invent a new form of self torture by writing about it, reliving it to create something beautiful from the trauma as a twisted form of self redemption. But no, you'll stop writing. The small moments will lose their magic, and poetry will feel like a foreign language. The rhythm of the drum beats will no longer urge you to dance. You'll hang up your artist or writer name tag and resign yourself to corporate work. You will hate your body. You will blame it for betraying you and grow frustrated when a touch echoes the memory of the assault. You will cry when your girlfriend forces you for sex, but you will let it happen. because you know you can exchange physical intimacy for the promise of a love you can't grant to yourself. When she leaves because she says you're too sad or too unwilling to have sex, you won't stop her. You'll recount the events over and over because you've decided to seek professional help. You'll start calling yourself survivor of sexual assault instead of victim and start telling your friends what really happened. You will learn to shift the blame to the perpetrator, but you know that recovery takes time. So you forgive your body on days it refuses to cooperate, play its favorite song, and learn to dance again, holding it with the same tenderness you've always offered to other people. You'll stop hiding what happened in metaphors and call it rape. You'll find people that love you regardless of it, not despite it. You'll you will look in the mirror and think that you love your body, admiring how it has gotten you this far. Poetry is not the same, but you will learn a new vocabulary to create a different kind of magic. You will find a rhythm in the quiet moments that spark your heart to dance. And after all that you've learned, you know that it was never your fault. And so again, that's my piece, What You Know After the Fact. This was the first piece from the collection that I finished writing. Parang once I started writing it, um, hindi ako magpakali until I finished it. And ito yung may pinaka-counting revisions, like very little changes from the moment it was written. Parang siguro I only changed a few words here and there. And I do want to share that um, yun nga, I stopped writing for a really long time. The last page poem I wrote was also about the assault, but then it felt like it didn't feel right, or I didn't feel like I did it justice, or parang hindi naman did it justice. I kind of wanted a release, and that the first piece I wrote wasn't enough, and then I started writing it as a spoken word piece. It's a different piece, pero that was there was a few years gap between those two pieces. And in within that gap, hindi talaga ako nakapagsulat or nakapag-finish ng kahit anong work until natapos ko yung spoken word ng other one. It's my other poem called What I Mean When I Say I Hate the Moon. It's a more parang it tells what actually happened. So parang moving on from that, sinabi niya, it's a hopeful ending. I kind of wanted to move forward. Parang my first spoken word poem describes the pain, and now I want to describe the healing. I, whew, we're almost done, guys. That's a third of the fourth. I sandwiched the heavy poems in between so we can end on on a light note. Um, so the healing translates, love the ending. Yes, thank you. I love you all, guys. Ayun. It took me years then to talk about what happened to me. And yun, as you can hear, it's still difficult for me to talk about it. Pero it is something I want to talk about, and eventually, hopefully, like, I guess, empower other people by sharing my experience of it. Ayun. So yun, we're going to the last poem from the collection. This is for the present time, and this is a love letter to the safe spaces we find in the context of a global pandemic. This is Itong set ko na to, most of the pictures from this set is from the contributions I got from the GC, which will also appear in the video I'm making for this piece. So yun, lahat na nag-contribute sa akin, including yung isang contribution na hiningi ko instead of the actual contribution. Nandyan, ito. Thank you, J. Thank you, JX. So this is my ode to my pandemic girlfriend. Cat me wielding, morning greeting, sunset chasing, late night lapag sharing you. A refreshing ball of pickup lines, puns, playlists for every occasion. Our conversations about kinks or grievances about exes is surprising ray of light in this bleak quarantine bubble. How can something so simple as werewolf or a newbie hot seat turn a whole day around? Whether it's movie streams, question of the day or night, co-working with Groovy or one of many Zoom inumans, the time I spend with you is sanctuary, is safe space, is support system I never thought I needed, is strangers at first coming together to create a community for sapphics of all orientations and presentations. No question is ever too silly or concern, ever too small, just people. Most have never met before, holding so much space for each other, pouring from their cup as much as they can give. And what is that if not warmth, if not love, if not family you can be your unfiltered self in, if not pocket of home in our small corner of the internet? Once I couldn't sleep and wanted to cry, hugging a hot compress to my chest. No one else could take care of me but myself. You sent memes and feel better soons, and we talked all through the night as if you held my hand the entire time until sleep came with the break of dawn. I'm so that was the last piece in my collection, love letter to my pandemic girlfriend. Pero it's really a love letter to the GC. This was born from a joke because I told them sila talaga yung jowa ko. Like I was getting my emotional support from them and not from my last relationship. So, ayun. They're a pandemic girlfriend. I'm really thankful because there were so many times that I wasn't feeling well, either physically or mentally. And even if I didn't tell them directly I wasn't feeling well, just having that group that I can go to, even having conversations about kung ano-ano, it really helped me cope through this pandemic, especially nung ano pa lang, nung mga ECQ, nung intense lockdown. It was difficult, but this group made it all bearable. So I'm really, really thankful for them. Ayun. And thank you all for attending. So I want to close by thanking you all again for being my safe space and for being a part of my residency project for Global Grace Philippines Air. Mahal na mahal ko kayo and I hope you enjoy the performance. I hope you look forward then to the virtual gallery. Siguro the virtual gallery, it will include this performance as well as four videos. Tigi-isa lahat ng pieces that I performed tonight. Um, I think mga mid-July or end July, magiging available yung virtual gallery. I will keep you guys posted when it's up. So yeah, thank you all. Thank you for the support and yes. Kinaya, yeah, kinaya.